welcome to my channel. This is a guided collective reading, so if this showed up for you, then this is your reading. Always remember to take what resonates and leave what does not. These are collective readings, so they are for a group of people. Every time before I begin these, I will say a little prayer, connect, and open myself up to whatever it is the collective needs to know. So just sit with me for a small moment of silence. Get centered. Imagine there is a cloud at the base of your spine. And as you breathe in, that cloud travels all the way up to your neck, into the top of your head. And as you exhale, it goes all the way back down to the base of your spine. Feel gratitude warm your chest for the life that you have gotten to live today and the life that you are living in this present moment. And we can begin. I'm going to start with an oracle card. Oh, I said oracle card, but I'm holding a tarot deck. I guess I will start with an oracle card. This is a self-made deck, specifically made for helping people to uncover more information about their soul's past and their soul's history. Right off the bat, I'm feeling this very interesting energy because it is not young. It is older. However, it's giving the energy of someone who is not inherently new to their spiritual journey, but is in the process of learning something new. So whether this is about your past lives, your soul's history, your higher self, perhaps you are engaging in some sort of new practice. I'm seeing waves of light through columns, like columns of a building. All right. Spirit, what would you like the collective to know? Start with the oracle. Ooh, that's a lot, actually. Let me get something. Just one, please, or one or two to start us off. Okay, right off the bat, we have again and again. Make sure that looks okay on camera. The energy I'm getting immediately is about cycles. Perhaps recently you have noticed a very familiar feeling, although perhaps it could be familial, both familial and familiar. A very familiar pattern repeating. And perhaps this is a pattern that you have noticed in your day-to-day life here on planet Earth as a human being from birth to now. Or this is something that you feel more connected to on a broader, soulful, higher dimensional scale. Perhaps this is something that you have had to face in many lifetimes. I'm hearing specifically the phrase, many iterations of yourself. So, again and again, you have experienced something. Can I get some more information, Spirit? Can I get a little bit more information? Right. Okay. We have soulmates come in many forms and they are plentiful. And Soul Journey. We have a couple cards too, but I'm gonna save them. Yes. Okay. So you're on this soul journey. You've definitely hit a checkpoint. You know how in video games you have your little checkpoints, or when you're on a hike, you have your little checkpoints like, oh, I've gotten this far, time to save the game. Or it auto-saves for you, or, oh, I've gotten this far on my hike, I've only got 3 miles left to go, something like that, right? You are at a checkpoint in your soul's journey right now. This is something that you are going to remember for a very long time. And in your soul's journey, there has been a pattern, particularly with the people that are in your life. And Spirit right now is reminding you that soulmates come in many forms, and they are plentiful. So perhaps you have gotten stuck in a cycle of believing that there's only one person for you, or one group of people for you. Perhaps you have recently felt lonely. For some of you, maybe you've gone through an ending of some sort with people, with maybe people that you have a soul connection with, like a genuine soul connection with, and that can be very hard to manage. For others of you, it's not necessarily that it came to an end or a close, but that there's distance, or that you never met them at all. This is a reminder, whoever is watching this, that soulmates, they're not just one way. They do not just appear one way. You can have soul family and people who are a part of your soul relations. There's a word that Spirit is trying to give me right now, but I don't know if there's an English translation for it. It's a kinship. It is family. It's like a family tree, but on a way broader scale. So when your souls were first created, perhaps you had a very specific life together or path together. Or perhaps you weren't even there at each other's creation, but for whatever reason, you have lived lifetime after lifetime together. And perhaps for some of you, this is even higher dimensional. So your higher self and their higher self, perhaps you have worked on things together. And these kinds of connections come in all shapes and sizes, all forms, all kinds of relationships. We're talking like literal family members, like mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunts, grandmas, I'm hearing, and like there's obviously the romantic aspects, yes, but there's also deep friendships, work partnerships, collaborative partnerships, when you build something together. Or there's even these soul connections where perhaps you've lived a whole life loving one another as husband and wife, just as an example, right? And then in the next life, you meet once on the street, and I'm hearing this very specific scenario. You meet once on the street, you share a cigarette, you talk about God, and then you never see each other again. But that situation stays in your mind for the rest of your life, and it changes you fundamentally. And sometimes it doesn't even change you fundamentally. But it directs you on your path. I'm seeing like a boat, like steering a boat and steering it to the side, to a new direction, and the wind blowing and assisting with this, and the momentum and the weight of the boat is just going. So that's the image that I'm being given. So sometimes these people are here to steer you in certain directions, and there's all kinds of soulmates that we can have. We have unconventional lifestyles and unwanted attention. Let me see if I can get that. perhaps for someone very specific in the collective, you are, and this is not going to be for everybody, I know this for a fact. This is for someone very specific, and I'm probably not going to mention it much further. But for somebody in the collective, you may be considering some unconventional lifestyles. A couple of the unconventional lifestyles that are coming up, for a couple of you, there's polyamory that's coming up. There's a very communal kind of living. There is... I think for some of you, you may be heavily involved in the punk subculture, which rock on. There's also just, for somebody in the collective, you may be breaking away from a very structured lifestyle, in a very particular way of living your life, very structured, very... for some of you, perhaps religious or modest, or you just do things a very particular way. It's very, I'm hearing the word orthodox. I'm hearing structure. Just structure. Think the Hierophant. There's a lot of structure there. And so with this card, it's basically talking about going against the grain from what you're used to, maybe culturally, or societally, and that might be something that's been very attractive to you lately, but you don't really know, it's just a thought right now, perhaps. And I think, the way that I view this card, and have since I made this deck, is like the Three of Cups and the Hierophant in reversed together. So I think that there's so much potential for joy when you break away from structure and ask yourself what it is that you really want. Because are you just scared of the way that people are going to perceive you? Or is it not something that you're interested in, right? And there's never anything wrong with exploring. So alongside this, soulmates come in many forms and they are plentiful. Perhaps for one of you in the collective, you're experiencing this situation where you have a soul connection to multiple people. And it is a romantic connection that you feel towards these people. And for that person, I would say, apologies, my phone decided to stop the recording. So back to it. I think that for whoever that message is for regarding the unconventional lifestyles and perhaps polyamory, there's this message underlying that's saying, hey, for some of you, it might be like gender and sexuality exploration as well. In which case, I wish you well on your exploration and your understanding of yourself. You can never go wrong when it comes to understanding more about yourself. Just remind yourself that, like, when it comes to your own personal identity, other people's opinions and attention regarding it is the biggest source of our fear, but also, in the long run, what matters the least. Because when you base your life around the way other people are going to perceive you, if you do this thing, or if you break away from this specific pattern, or if you break away from, pattern's the wrong word, if you break away from this predefined structure that you have existed in your whole life and everybody else is just comfortable with it too, people are going to give you a lot of attention. But I saw this really beautiful video recently that was talking about, like, in particular, transness and being transgender. And they were like, well, why would you want to live your life so queerly when it attracts so much unwanted attention? Why would you want to exist in a way that could attract so much negativity into your life? And they responded, it is not just negativity, it's community, it's authenticity. And the highest vibration that you can operate in, many people say it's love or light. That's false. The highest frequency you can operate in is authenticity. And this is something that I believe has some psychological backing as well, is that the healthiest way that you can operate in your entire nervous system is to be authentic. When we can be authentic around people, we feel safe. And when we explore these kinds of things, it helps us to understand who it is in our life that we can be authentic around. And when you find people that you can be authentic around, those are the people that you want to keep in your life. When you find people that are not going to support your authenticity, perhaps those are the kinds of people that you need to love from a distance. And that is a really hard thing to learn. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. For others of you, you may be exploring some unconventional spirituality beliefs that perhaps you've never experienced before. This unwanted attention card is very interesting, though. I do think I'm going to pull a... oh, wait. We have more oracle cards first. Anything else about this unwanted attention? Relationships. Yeah, this is a very relationship-based reading, I'm noticing. It seems like your relationships may be a little bit messy right now. We do have the cheating card, as well as, let's see where this wants to, oil and coal. It's a little hard to read, so, I mean, perhaps you're scared of a situation where boundaries are broken. For the rest of the collective, that this is not about polyamory, I do apologize. I'm sure we will get to your messages later, but there seems to be something very, very particular about this situation. So I'm going to continue on this roll. I'm polyamorous myself, so I can give some hopefully decent advice with what I know, and I'm sure that's why Spirit wanted me to do this reading today, because perhaps I can offer some insight that you may not have. But it definitely seems like you are experiencing a plethora of relationships, and there's all this interconnected stuff. I'm hearing that someone is incredibly afraid of cheating on their partner or being cheated on. And you are just ruminating in it. You are ruminating in this pattern, but I am hearing that this pattern is something that you can close out yourself. You can close out yourself by choosing yourself. Perhaps you're dealing with some unwanted attention on your relationships. Maybe there's too many eyes on your relationships right now. Like, maybe there's been a lot of talk around your relationships and you wanted that to stay personal and you're upset. I've had a very similar experience recently. It's kind of uncanny, which would make sense because, you know, I am attracting a collective of people who are much like myself, to hopefully build a community with this channel. And so, you know, it would make sense that we're going through similar things at similar points of time. But I'm just noticing this energy of just too many eyes on your personal life, things that are too close to your heart. And I think that the ingredients you have bake the cake that you get, right? So, okay, Spirit, what is this message? The ingredients that you have bake the cake that you get. So if you're making a hate cake and you're just putting all of this frustration into it and you're like, fuck everything, fuck love, fuck polyamory, fuck being gay, I don't know, maybe you're gay and you're like, fuck being gay, I'm just gonna pretend to be straight for the rest of my life. Babe, like, you're baking yourself a big cake of fuck you, you know? Like, you're not building yourself up any higher. Whereas if you look at all your ingredients and you're like, okay, I'm gonna sprinkle a little self-love into this, I'm gonna sprinkle a little authenticity into here, you're gonna make a delicious cake and you're going to enjoy it and you're gonna eat it with all of your family. Like, I'm just getting this energy of you building this life that actually is not your life. It's the life of these, whoever is giving you this unwanted attention. It is the life of perhaps just other people's expectations of you. And when it comes to this unconventional lifestyles thing, and this perhaps, whether or not it's spirituality, polyamory, whatever it is, this new thing that you are exploring, and you're afraid of doing it wrong, you're afraid of cheating, you're afraid of messy relationships and unwanted attention and all of this, take a deep breath, okay? Because everything is going to be okay. There is nothing better you can do but be authentic to yourself. But what if it goes wrong? Okay. But what if it goes wrong? Soulmates come in many forms and they are plentiful. When you make the conscious effort to put your heart into something, and you make the conscious effort to end a cycle that is no longer serving you, you only learn. And yeah, maybe it'll be frustrating sometimes. The in-between between knowing and not knowing is frustration. Learning is frustration. We get frustrated when we learn. Have you ever watched a kindergartner try to put the square block in the round hole? Well, it's a little, kindergarten might be a little old for that, but you know what I mean. Like a toddler trying to put the blocks in the right holes, right? And they're just sitting there and they're like, why won't this triangle fit in the square? You know what I mean? Like they're just like frustrated. Or like watching a little kid try to learn how to ride a bike, right? Like, if you've ever worked with kids in any capacity, you can tell the frustration. If you've ever worked with anybody, just being a human, we have all felt frustrated. But you know what? At the end of the day, after we finish that really hard math problem, or after we write that essay, or after we get that degree, or after we learn that new software that we've been wanting to learn for a while, you know what comes after that? Hey, I did that. I'm pretty pleased with myself. But you know what comes before that? Frustration. Frustration is so important. We do not give it enough credit. Frustration is okay. It's allowed. You know, a lot of us are raised thinking that our frustration, our anger, any emotion that's uncomfortable is a bad emotion. Because, you know, our parents just didn't want us to feel uncomfortable because either they were too soft on us or they were too hard on us. And very rarely do parents find an in-between, because they're humans too, right? But especially in our society, I think that our emotions that aren't love and light, happy, give everybody a big smile and be a people pleaser, anything that's not that is kind of just considered this bad emotion. If it's even slightly unpleasant to be around, it's a bad emotion and you shouldn't feel it. But these emotions are how we learn as people, as human beings on this planet Earth. This is how we learn. We learn by being frustrated. We learn by being angry. We learn by making mistakes. And yes, that includes relationships. That includes relationships. You will never know if you do not try. And then if you do not try, you will spend the rest of your life wondering what would have happened if you had just tried. What would have happened if you had just stepped out of your comfort zone? Because at the end of the day, it really does show you who the real ones are and who the real ones aren't. Right? Like, I personally would rather surround myself with authentic people who care about my authenticity and my self-exploration than people who want me to be their version of me. Because I don't want to be bound by that. We have the Knight of Pentacles and the Emperor. You have an opportunity, but it is entirely up to you whether or not you will take it. will you smother it? If you are given a flame of inspiration, a beautiful flame of inspiration, and it is right there in your hands, and you can nourish that flame of inspiration and put it in your belly and let it grow into this blazing fire of passion that will potentially long-term make you feel incredibly stable and centered. Or you could smother it. Or you could put it out. Or you could burn your hands by trying to smother a fire that will not go out. And then you'll have to live with those scars for the rest of your life and look at them every day and wonder, what would have happened if I had not smothered that fire within me? Because the truth is that you are strong. You are strong enough for this. You are. You say, I'm not. You are strong enough for this. The moon in reverse. But I don't know what will happen. Ether, how will I know what will happen? I don't know what will happen, and that's what scares me. I know. Sometimes you don't know what will happen. Sometimes you must do it afraid. Sometimes that fear doesn't go anywhere. It just sits within you, and you have to act, regardless of whether or not you are afraid or not. You will not know what the future holds. You have the present moment. That is all you have. Anything in the future, imaginary. Completely imaginary. You have literally made it up. Like, you imagine your future, that is a fantasy. That is false. That's not real. Now, perchance, you could make it real. Yes. Okay. Yes, we can be our own self-fulfilled prophecies. Yes, we can manifest. Yes, we can bring certain things to light. However, it's still fantasy, because what we have right now is the present moment. Behind you, also fantasy. It is memory. Memory is not a tangible thing that we can hold in our hands. What we have right now is the present moment. What we do in the present moment. How we choose to take care of ourselves in the present moment, and how we choose to take care of others in the present moment. And I feel like the energy that I'm talking to is somebody who prides themselves on their ability to stand tall and to stand strong and to be maybe some sort of leader, perhaps. Perhaps you're a leader. You cannot lead if you are stuck in fantasy. If you are stuck in the fantasy of the past and the fantasy of the future. How are you supposed to make a decision for your people here and now? Because right now you're just holding it in your hands and staring at it. You haven't smothered it yet, and you haven't let it light. So, you are at a pivotal moment. Certainly at a pivotal moment right now. I think you're gonna make the right choice, though. I hope you make the right choice. And that choice is towards community. It's towards something beautiful. Like, you see all of these hands that are reaching up towards this pentacle. It is beautiful. Good messages. These are good messages. Birds may be significant. If there's a bird that's been talking a lot, perhaps by your window or when you're commuting wherever you go, that's significant. But do you see all of these hands reaching towards this one shared goal? I think that there is a shared goal, and you have the opportunity to either throw that goal away or to reach for it too. We have justice in reverse. That's an interesting energy alongside everything else. Something's not right. Something's not right here, guys. I don't really know, but something's not right here. Also, if you're new here, and you are because this is my first video, I joke, I jest, angels fly high because they take things lightly. Like, I love to be silly, and I find that it's a high vibration to be in, and it helps me because I can deliver the messages that I need to deliver, and also maybe you can giggle. So clarifying justice in reverse, we have the Three of Cups. Yeah, something's not right. Something's not right in your relationships, which makes sense, right? Because we have all of this oh my God, right? And there's just something's wrong. And I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that things right now just seem to be not going too hot. Let me see if I can tap into this energy a little bit. I think someone has done something wrong. Like, someone's made the wrong choice. Like, I'm hearing, how can you mess up that bad? And I don't know if this is about you or if this is about somebody else in your life. But I'm hearing, how can you mess up that bad? We have the Three of Cups in reverse too. Like, I'm hearing gossip. So there could be a lot of gossip going on. Gossip girl. I dream about it, and I wake up falling. That's a Phoebe Bridgers song. What song is that? Hopefully I'll remember what song that is. But if you know that song, that might have some kind of meaning. There's a couple songs coming through right now. Music may be significant for you, but also it's a way that I process messages sometimes too. You are divinely aligned, okay? Or perhaps you need to get divinely aligned. There are certain things that the sun will shine light on. And when you notice something highlighted, that is a sign that you need to focus on it at that time. And I think that there is a light being shown on the shadowy aspects of your life, in perhaps your entire soul's journey. And this has to do with your relationships. This has to do with the way that you show up in your relationships. Ooh, actually, I was going to pull from the Iris deck, right? And then I turned and I saw on both sides of my deck, betrayal, okay? Destruction. You are deserving of forgiveness and affection. Love is not to be earned. We also have innocence in reverse over here at the bottom of the deck. And normally I don't take these cards reversed, but I feel like you have gone through a lot of traumatic experiences. Trigger warning, I apologize, but for some of you, your innocence may have been stolen in some way or another. It is, you have gone through trial after trial. You have been beaten, kicked down, violated. Your trust is just on the floor. And perhaps that's why I feel like for you, thinking of loving one person is already hard enough. Thinking of loving yourself is already hard enough. And then you add all of these connections that are in your life on top of that. And I think for you, you may find yourself drawn to destroy it, or you fear it will be destroyed because that is a pattern you have seen over and over. Can I get some more information in particular about who I'm talking to in the collective? Some traits and stuff. We have shadow work and soldier. Yeah, you are used to serving and serving and serving, and perhaps you've done some fucked up shit. Your words, not mine kind of energy. Like, you would say it yourself. And if this isn't resonating with you, this just might not be your reading. You might have hurt people. You might have made many mistakes. In your soul's past in particular, you may have found some sort of joy in it, right? And for those of you who preach only love and light, take a breath, listen, because, you know, there are some people in the collective that have had to walk the dark path in order to come into a lighter one. And I'm by no means somebody who preaches only the light path. I am one who walks right in the middle. And I love both darkness and light completely equally, and there is so much color between the two of them that is unseen and unacknowledged in most spaces spiritually now. And I find that a shame, because our shadows and our darkness and our light have so much to teach us. And I feel like the people in the collective that I'm talking to right now have a history of war, of violence, of gnashing of teeth, pain, betrayal, destruction. I'm hearing war a lot. You've been a soldier before. And this is part of your shadow work. This is part of your looking very deep within and recognizing that you deserve forgiveness. God is all merciful. All merciful. Allah is all merciful. However you refer to the essence of creation, I refer to God with many, many, many names. Source, spirit, creation. Spirit is a little broad for me because it's like any energy that's coming through, right? But there are millions of names for God. And the core of it is that this spiritual center, creation, the creator, is all merciful. There is not one thing you can do that will not be forgiven. And contrary to popular religious belief, you don't even need to ask, because you're on a path. And in our existence, everything happens in a cycle. Just like on Earth, we go through cycles, right? We have moon cycles, we have seasons. Everything happens in a cycle. We have hormonal cycles, day cycles. Like, everything is a cycle. Life cycles exist in our soul's history. That's why, you know, people digging into their soul history and spiritual history on a deeper level may be like, it goes farther back. Yes, darling, it always goes farther back. We experience existence within a cycle. And for you, you have come out of a very long night. And there's nothing wrong with coming out of a long night. I have also come out of a long night. And what I mean by long night is a very long period of your soul's history where you had to exist in the darkness, where you did things that perhaps in this life you do not morally agree with. Perhaps you had been a soldier at war. Perhaps you had been a not so great leader or a not so great person. Perhaps you just made the wrong decisions, or perhaps you were just following orders for many of you. Or fighting for something that you believed in and choosing the violent route, right? That happens. We live in a brutal world. And there are many other brutal worlds out there. Many, even more brutal than this one. And in your past, you, even on a soul level, like even on a, for some of you, higher dimensional level, you have had to deal with this destruction, with this hatred. You have had to sit and hate in darkness and bask in it. And now the sun's rising for you. But it's been such a long night that you might have forgotten what the sun even looked like. So you're like looking at the horizon and you're just like, what the fuck am I looking at? What the actual hell? What is that big bright lamp that is rising above the mountains right now? I don't like it. But here's the catch, babe. You're deserving of forgiveness and love and affection. And guess what? You don't have to go fight a battle in order to be loved and appreciated. You don't have to like chop off 10 heads and leave them at my doorstep for you to be loved. Like, you know, that's the kind of energy I feel like I'm talking to. And I relate to it. I've been there. You are not alone, but you are not defined by betrayal. You are not defined by all of these bad things that have happened to you in this cycle. And now you get to watch the sunrise and experience the day. And that's uncomfortable. It also means an ending. And endings can be sad. I think sometimes we don't change because there are certain benefits to who we were before. To staying the same. There's a comfortability there, right? There's a comfortability in staying the same, especially if you're very old as a soul. We have the sun. And even though the sun's coming up reverse here, there's no such thing as a sun in reverse being bad. Like, it's literally just saying, like, either, like, it's the image that Spirit is giving me right now is like somebody like the sun, like, okay, it's the same image of like the sun rising over the horizon, right? Except the person, like, they have their eyes screwed really tight shut and they're like, I won't look at it, and if I don't look at the sun, it's not gonna rise. Well, boo-hoo, babe, the sun's gonna rise anyway. Like, you think you have control over that? Like, you can't just sit there and manifest the sun to stay down. It's gonna rise. It is your time, and it's okay. It is okay. Don't be so afraid of your own happiness. Don't be so afraid of your own prosperity and joy and forgiveness. Don't let the past hold you down. Literally, the past. Like, the sun is rising, babe. It's okay. And if it rises on the ashes of something that you thought you had built that burnt down, that's okay. The sun can rise over a battlefield and a new day still comes. You still have your life. It's not been stolen from you. Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can take your relationship with Spirit from you. What else does the collective need to know, Spirit? We have pathway. Oh. Okay. Which way? Accident. And then on the back we have your soul sends you messages. Interesting. Can we get a little bit more information on accident, please? Father. Interesting. For one of you, for someone in the collective, I feel like this goes way back to your childhood. Perhaps just a general feeling of not being wanted. And you're just being told to be aware of that. You know, you have had to walk this path for a specific reason. This is certainly for whoever I'm talking to. I mean, this is not the first life that you've had that's been hard. I think you're just on a rough path. You've got a lot of karma to work out from your past. But, you know, there's no mistakes, only happy accidents. No, it can be really hard to navigate this kind of thing because it can feel very invalidating to be told that everything happens for a reason, right? You're like, here's my trauma, and then someone's like, everything happens for a reason, and you're like, I'm gonna blow up, you know? Like, it's not a pleasant thing to be told. So I'm not gonna sit here and say everything happens for a reason. I am going to say that every experience we have shapes us into the person that we are now. every experience that we have shapes us. And perhaps some of those experiences make us bitter and angry. They're very challenging, traumatizing, painful. It's a brutal world that we live in. Complete brutality. In so many ways. Entropy is... everything is eating itself. Everything is eating each other. We're all fighting for our way to exist in the world. And fighting each other. And comparing ourselves to each other. And everything is always expanding and destroying itself and creating itself over and over and over again. And we are no different. There are cycles in your life where you are going to be in pain, where you are going to be hurt. And those cycles put you on specific roads, and you learn as you go. Nobody's saying it should have happened to you. Nobody's saying you deserved it. But it happened to you. There's no going back to change it. There's no fixing it. And your anger that you feel about it is just your mind, your body, and your soul telling you that that wasn't okay. You didn't deserve that. And sometimes I think for some people these things happen because we need to acknowledge what we do deserve, even if they're very painful. I do think that there's meaning. Slight interruption again, which is a little bit frustrating, but we work through. This is the first video, so if this reading is meant for you, I'm sure you've stuck around anyway. Thank you for doing so. Can I get a little bit more information on accident, please, Spirit? Ooh, okay, big card, pop out. Death. Oh my God. Yeah, you're transforming, and it is not by accident. You might be like, I made a mistake, and now everything is ruined. No, it was intentional by all means. It is a spiritual, like, you got guides that straight up were like, actually, road bump, crash your car, because you need to slow down and process this ending. Whatever it was, I don't really know. But you were stopped in your path. Like, straight up stopped. Like, I'm literally seeing, like, I'm on my way to this specific event, and I'm driving in my car, and then I, like, literally get into a car crash. I fucking am going too fast, and there's a speed bump, and I run into a pole, and I'm fine. My body's fine. My car's dinged up, but I'm intact. But I was stopped, and now I can't go to that con that I was trying to go to. And then it turns out that if you had gone there, then something would have happened, and you would have gotten in with the wrong crowd and then spent the next 6 years trying to please them without realizing that they sucked. I don't know, very specific, but like, that's the kind of energy I'm feeling. Like, you were literally stopped. So whatever it is that happened recently with your relationships, you thought that you made this mistake, and you've been very hard on yourself because of it. This mistake was not an accident. This mistake happened. It was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen so that you could go through this transformation, this ending. So what is this ending? Can you give me any more information? We have the Two of Swords. It's funny, that wanted to come out earlier too. I think it's to spur you into action, to making a decision. You need to make a decision in some way. I think, and that's part of this ending of this again and again cycle. You know, tell me more about this cycle. What's this decision? Ooh, the Eight of Wands in reverse. So something hasn't been going forward quickly. The Hierophant in reverse, dude. And it has to do with this unconventional lifestyle and you not wanting to take a step forward into it. Okay, so What is this unconventional lifestyle? Why is it that you're attracted to this? Talk to me, Spirit. Okay, I'm seeing some conflict here. But inspiration. So you're inspired, but there's this conflict. What is this conflict? Actually, I'm gonna take that. I spinned it. The Knight of Cups. Okay. Wanting to make an offer. Emotional communication, putting forward some form of communication. Anything else, Spirit, that you can give me from these cards? You want to communicate something, or someone needs to communicate to you. There's a lot of stuff happening here. Perhaps you've just been resting on it. You haven't been really talking to people about it. You don't really know where to go from here. And perhaps it's because you are scared of conflicts, and maybe you want to talk about it, you want to work things out, you want to fix everything, but you are scared of conflict. What advice do you have for this collective spirit on this situation? You have abundance right there lined up for you, babe. So much abundance, in fact, that all you need to do is grow it. All you need to do is grow the abundance. Let down your guard. You're so guarded. Like, unbelievably guarded. And I think it's because you're afraid of conflict. But, like, you can't let your fear of conflict hold you in this stagnant energy forever. You have to untie yourself, get up, and claim what is rightfully yours. You have the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups. Literally everything that you could ever want or desire. And you're sitting on it. Don't sit on it. You want it, babe? Go grab it. Grab it with love and joy. Go give it a big hug and a big fat kiss and give it a big kissy mark right on its cheek. I don't know what it is that you want to go to, whatever this unconventional thing that you want is, but my God, boy, go get it. And that's boy gender neutral, because I don't know who I'm talking to, but whoever's guide just like inhabited me just now says, boy, smacks you on the back of your head. Go get it. What is your problem? You're sitting here like a sitting duck, not doing anything, not going towards anything, when you have everything you could ever want. And why is it that you're not going towards it again? Why is it? What's the reason? 4 of Cups. 8 of Cups. Oh, maybe I should just walk away. You know, there's this other shiny thing. What's this other shiny thing? What is possibly more important than your 10 of Pentacles and your 10 of Cups? What could possibly be more important? Wheel of Fortune in reverse and 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is working for something, right? You're working for something. You're holding on to something pretty tightly. Got your tools. You're holding on to it. You're building. But then there's the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Something's not quite right here. 5 of Pentacles. I felt that energy. Holding on to it real tightly. Forlornly staring out the window, thinking about this thing. Something's not going right. This cycle's just going to keep repeating. It's not going to come to a completion. Why? 8 of Swords in reverse. Because you haven't freed yourself yet. You gotta free yourself. I'm gonna pull this card. The 9 of Cups. Free yourself and you get everything you want. I can't make this energy up, y'all. Like, free yourself and you get everything you want. So what's holding you? What's holding you back from freeing yourself? Let me ask this oracle deck real quick. What's holding you back from freeing yourself? What is holding the collective back from freeing themselves? Direction. Okay. You need a little direction. Release. There is definitely something you needed to release. And distraction. I think that you're distracted by stuff. You're distracting yourself while also wanting direction. You can't do that. You can't distract yourself away from what's happening when what you need to do is release. You're being given the directions. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you have people in your life who have straight up told you what you need to do. But maybe you have too many people telling you what you need to do. You need to go inward. But you're like, I don't know how to do that. But when you are alone with yourself deep down and you think about what you want Do not logicalize it. You're thinking about what you want, what your heart wants, what you're desiring in your life. That's the choice you need to make. Your brain is going to come in after the fact and go, oh, but this and that, and oh, you're going to ruin this and that. When you are falling asleep at night and you think about something or someone and you get warm inside and things just feel a little bit brighter, a little bit more colorful, that is what you want to chase. Because anything else is just mimicking that. And there's a lot of risk when you go towards the things that distract you away from your pain and mimic that feeling. You know, so say for example you have two groups of friends, right? And one group of friends is super authentic. They are exactly, if you had no rules for yourself, that's how you would be. That's who you would be. They're living life the way you wish you could live it. And whenever you're around them, you're like, oh my God, you guys are crazy. Like, how do you just do this and be so happy? Because if my family knew that I was living my life like this, they would fucking kick my ass or whatever it is, or kick me out of their house, or, you know, or like, if I ever let myself do that, then that ruins my plans of becoming a nurse or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you go to this other friend group and they're like, yeah, you know, dude, you got to be realistic about it. You can't just be, you know, living in your heart and in your head. You have to think with your mind. You got to think about your money, think about your career, think about what your family's going to think about you. You know, you got to fit into society, man. You know, you can't let these people distract you away. And meanwhile, these people are like drinking tea in the woods and like frolicking around and having the time of their lives and connecting with their inner child. And your other friend groups is like, they're weird. You want to be weird? Fine, go with them, but we're not going to fuck with you anymore. And you go and you choose those friends who are dissing on your other friends who, if you were free, you could be. There's risk there. Because then you're surrounding yourself by fake people who are too immature to look deeply within themselves. And that's not the choice that you want to make. I apologize, by the way. Spirit is laying it on thick, but I think that's because they know you can handle it. Exposed. Yeah, you got jokes, Spirit. You got jokes. And then sore. Yeah, you might feel exposed right now, but trust me, you will fly afterwards. I know it's hard. I have another deck I'm going to use real quick. It looks pretty much identical to the other self-made deck, but I think that this could provide us with a little bit more information and guidance for you moving forward, because I know we have to... Ooh. Okay, this one. Break free from the mental chains that bind you to despair. Your retreat is bordering on isolation. Find balance in your solitude. What's this card? Relationships of any sort are a two-way street that requires equal and fair contribution. Ensure balanced energy exchanges. Okay, can I get a confirmation for that, please, Spirit? A little bit of more information here. Upside down. Embrace the discomfort of uncertainty. Sometimes it's necessary for personal and spiritual growth. And don't just dream of love. Create it. I mean, man, like, yeah, first of all, it's time to stop being alone. If you have retreated from a situation that you care about, it is time to return to it and to have those hard conversations that you need to have and create the love and the life that you actually want. Not that your logical brain thinks would be the most prosperous or financially beneficial for you. No. What does your heart want? That's what you need to think of right now. Because you have neglected your heart for so long. And you are just chained and bound. And it is time for you to break free from those chains that bind you to your own despair. You're going to bind yourself to your own insanity, brother. Like, and also, I've noticed that over the course of this reading, I've used a lot of masculine terms. And I do, once again, want to reiterate, I'm not intentionally doing it. I do feel a masculine energy in the collective somewhere, but it's certainly not everyone. So take that with a grain of salt, please. But like, you know, you're binding yourself to this, like, it's just not a fun energy. And I think that you're choosing these decisions that aren't helping. And one of those is isolating yourself. So, you know, unbind yourself. You can create exactly what you want, and it's gonna be uncertain. You're gonna be afraid. That's okay. That fear is gonna teach you something right now. It is necessary for your spiritual and your personal growth as a person. And like right now, the energy exchanges in your relationships, not balanced. You have to equalize it. I feel like you have taken a step back, and you have taken way too far of a step back. And now you have to come back in and make sure that things are equal. All right. Anything else that the collective needs to know before I end the reading? Is there anything else that the collective needs to know before I end the reading, Spirit? Ooh. No one is yours but you. Beautiful. And healing through rest. So yeah, I feel like you've taken a break, but your rest hasn't really been restful. And the one who hides the sun. Yeah, I think that you've hidden the sun from yourself. And that's sad, because you deserve to see the sun. It's the same energy from earlier, just like I was saying way earlier, if you remember, when I said, you know, you're staring at the sunset, and then you start squinting and closing your eyes and going, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. Or not sunset, but sunrise. And then the sunrise is beautiful. And you're robbing yourself of this beautiful experience and this beautiful view with people that you love because you're scared of what the sun looks like. But the sun is beautiful. It's going to warm you up. It's scary right now because you don't know it, but you will not regret it. It'll be a beautiful experience for you. It'll be life-changing. Imagine never seeing the sun, and then you see the sun. Whatever this experience is with you, it's the same. It's just like that. Okay, so I'm new to this deck, so I'm checking out the meaning in the guidebook. Yeah. Definitely get some sleep rest, right? So make sure you're going to bed on time. I think at maximum, you can wait 2 more days before you have that conversation with whoever it is you need to have. But in those 2 days, really rest. Actually rest. Don't judge yourself for, I'm not doing this or that. Rest, okay? And when it comes to your relationships, stop putting your worth and weight into the relationships that is around you. People belong to themselves. You belong to yourself. And you can give love, but at the end of the day, you are the only one who is truly yours. You're responsible for you. That's what you have the power to do. Like, you can only change a situation or other people so much. So you have to put the focus on your growth. And once you do that and you focus on yourself and not what all these other people think of you, or not how you can control this, or how you can make this person feel that way, or how you can make sure that everything turns out okay, you can't. But you are your own. And if you feel like your life is not your own, you are in an unhealthy attachment to something. And that is what you need to release so that you can finally see the sun. And that releasal is in your hands entirely. It is a decision that you have to make. And it might be a hard decision, but sometimes you have to do the hard thing, even when you really don't want to. I know this was a heavy reading, but at the end of the day, I think that you're just being reminded to make these decisions. And there's a reason that you came to this reading. There's a reason that this reading called you. So, don't just look out the window and hope that the people on the street will notice you. Don't just be an observer of your own life, always keeping yourself in the dark. right? Always making it look like the night, always making it darker and darker. The night is beautiful, and there's a lot of clarity you can get at night. There's a lot of things you can see in the stars, but if that's all you have, you need to expand yourself a little bit further. And there's going to be risk involved, but you have to in order to end this cycle so that you stop feeling like you're doing things over and over and over again. It might not look the way that you imagined your life looking when you were a kid, or the way that your mother imagined your life looking, but that's okay, because it's your life, and lives are allowed to change. Expectations are allowed to change. You will always be loved by Spirit, always. I'm going to close this reading here now. Play a little outro song. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful rest of your day or night, whatever time it is for you. I pray for you that you make the right decisions, everyone in the collective, and you make the decision that is right for your soul, right for your path, that will bring you closer. Uncover this 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Cups. Thank you so much. Take a moment of gratitude, stillness, breath. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you enjoyed this reading, or if it was helpful for you in any way, please leave a comment. I'd love to know what's going on in your life. Subscribe, like the video. It really helps me a lot. If you're interested in a personal reading, please feel free to reach out. I have so much love for each and every one of you, and I really do pray that everything happens for your highest good. Thank you so much.